So in the last little video, I showed you my introductory paragraph and my first body CQT. So essentially you just repeat the CQT process over for each stage for Great Expectations. I've gone back and, as any good writer does, kind of reads what it is they wrote and thinks, okay, I need to change this, I need to adjust that. And so I did that here. I added I beefed up my background information. I've added a little bit better context sort of information. And then I went through, so you can kind of see I made my background information a little bit longer than I did in the previous video. And then let's pretend that I have 4 really great following CQT paragraphs after this, or I should say 5. And then I have my clincher, or my concluding paragraph. And so I wanted to give you an idea of what I would write for this particular essay. So here is my concluding paragraph. Ultimately, Krakauer leaves it up to the reader themselves to determine whether Chris's hubris or pride is what caused his death. The reader is given plenty of evidence that Chris's hubris does play a large factor in his death, such as when Krakauer points out that he tries to canoe through torrential rapids back into the United States, even though he's deathly afraid of water. He leaves his car, see, teachers are always making mistakes, so it proves that we are not robots. Where flash floods are known to happen, he mistakes edible plants for those that have high toxicity levels, and he willingly leaves all maps or instruments behind that can help him get safely out of the Alaskan wilderness. Since Chris's relationship with his parents was so complicated, it only leaves one to assume that he felt he knew more than they did about how to live life the right way. Unfortunately, this hubris cost him his life. If the reader can take anything away from this cautionary tale, is that we are not the center of the universe, and perhaps others may teach us a lesson we need to learn. So this is, of course, assuming that my previous CQTs had all touched on him being in the canoe paddling through the United States, or trying to go back to the United States, being where the flash flood happened, eating the inedible plants that we find out later on through Krakauer's investigation, and some of the little insight that they give us to his parents. I then would take that and I would apply it to my final draft. And I do want to point out, so let's pretend this is my introductory paragraph. This is my first body CQT. Excuse me. And then I would have 5 really awesome CQT paragraphs here, and then I have my concluding paragraph. Okay, this is all MLA format, so you want to make sure that your formatting looks just like mine. So it would be your name, my name, Honors English 9, period 6. Notice the date is first, then the month, and then the year. I also will need to insert a page number, because your essay will most likely go over more than 1 page. So I need to insert a page number, and I'm not going to put it at the bottom because that's a different type of thing. And I'm going to put it there. I'm going to click OK, and we should see it there. And if I click on there, I can also put right in front of that number, I should be able to put Jenkins, which is my girl's last name here. And I'm going to fix it so they don't actually collide with one another. This may take a minute or so, hopefully less than a minute, to put over there. And then what's going to happen for you is that each page will then be numbered. So as I go on to the next page, it would say Jenkins 2, Jenkins 3, Jenkins 4. So that way, for some reason, if yours ever became unstapled for any reason, I could find the next page of your essay. I do want to point out that for this example, Alexander's Supertramp has been highlighted as being wrong. So you can double check in the novel itself to make sure you have the name spelled correctly, but there are going to be some names that will come out wrong because they're just not part of the popular culture and the dictionary right now. So Supertramp is, while it was a fancy song in the 70s, is not really something that you see in a lot of formal writing, which this is. So please do not use any text talking. So no LOLs, none of that sort of stuff in the essay itself. And notice that when I use my quote, that after my quote, I don't say, or I don't type out this quote shows blah, 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 blah. I want to use some really formal reading and writing here, and I want to think beyond just this quote shows. So I'm going to use the author's name. I may use a character's name. I may want to use an idea or concept that's being played throughout the entire novel, something along those lines. I hope this has been helpful, but of course, as always, you can ask me any question you want in class, and I will hopefully have an answer for you. Or you can tell me, hey, Miss Ordway, can you make a video for this? I just don't understand it, and I'd like to hear it over and over again, and I would be more than happy to try it out. Okay, talk to you guys later.